right here. This is why humans gesture so much when we talk. Good afternoon. Today I want to talk about something we all do, but really don't think about gesturing while we talk. Some people gesture a little, some people gesture a lot, and then there's people like me. I tell my husband I don't talk with my hands, and he kind of looks at me, and we look at my hands, and to see the truth there. But the interesting part is gestures aren't just random flailing. They're actually a built-in part of human communication. And in 2024, Wang found that scientists have spent decades studying why we do it. Spoiler alert, it's not because we're all secretly Italian, even if that would explain a lot. So before we dive in, quick poll, can you raise your hand if you talk with your hands? Leave them up. If you talk with your hands so much that if someone tied them down, you'd forget half your vocabulary. My people. I have a few points to make about this. So, first, gestures help our brains think. One of the biggest reasons humans gesture is it actually helps our brains process information. In 2021, Bettinsoli and company found that researchers called this embodied cognition, just a fancy way of saying our brains and bodies work together as a team. When we move our hands, it helps us organize our thoughts, find the right words, and express ideas more clearly. This is why you see people gesture even when they're on the phone. There's no one to see them, but their brain still needs this hand movement assist. So, according to a 2024 study, again by Wang, it's like the brain saying, "Look, I can't do this all by myself. You've got to help me out here." So, here, try it out on your own. I want you to say the word "uh-huh" without moving your head. Try it. Weird, right? Your body just wants to move. It's because of the speech and the movement. It's linked in your brain. Again, according to Wayne, your body's basically just saying we're doing this together. So point two, body gestures make communication clearer. Gestures help the listener. Benton Soli's study noted they add emphasis, show direction, illustrate size, make abstract ideas more concrete. Since this is all about gestures, let me demonstrate it. Say I say, the fish I caught was this big, but I don't gesture. What size fish are you seeing? Now, picture this. The fish was this big. All right, now I've got a sea monster, right? Same words, but with gestures. They help our brains, they help our listeners, and depending on your culture, those gestures could be whispering, or they might be auditioning for a telenova. So we can talk about that for point three. Gestures are cultural, and sometimes dramatic. Gestures aren't universal, but some gestures are used by cultures very subtly. For example, in 2024, Ting and company found that in Japan and Finland, gestures tend to be small and controlled, especially in formal settings. Humans everywhere gesture, but we just do it differently. Other cultures, like Mediterranean cultures studied by Naidu and Gaither in 2025, communicate with their whole upper body. So if you've never seen two Italians arguing, it's like they're conducting an orchestra just made up of emotions. So picture, if you will, my family time at Christmas, or just observe. When I get excited, I switch into, we call it Italian grandmother mode. So this is where my hands are doing their whole own little TED talk. And honestly, it works. People pay attention. Gestures, they make communication more engaging, more expressive, and sometimes more dramatic than the words themselves. Which leads us to point four. Gestures are basically a second language. So scientists classify gestures into four categories. According to Burton Sully, these are iconic gestures, which show shapes or movement. You got deictic gestures, which is like pointing. Emblems, which are gestures with specific meanings, like thumbs up. And then you have beat gestures, which are rhythmic hand flicks that match your speech. We don't think about the gestures constantly, but our brains use them automatically. They're like subtitles for our speech, so except they're free, they're built in. Occasionally dangerous if you're holding a beverage, just or knocking them down. In conclusion, gestures are essential, not optional. So why do humans gesture so much? Because it helps us think. It helps others understand us and adds emotional richness to our communication. They're not random. They're just a natural, universal part of how humans express meaning. So, and honestly, if you want to think about how important gestures are, just try telling a story without moving your hands. It's virtually impossible to do. So, thank you. Enjoy the ride, and don't bother keeping your hands inside the vehicle. Thank you.